So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on this fine, sunny Thursday evening. My name is Olamide and I will be facilitating this workshop with Valerie, my co-program coordinator. So welcome to the Mind Your Money, the Psychology of Saving event, hosted by the Canadian Multicultural Leader Organization in collaboration with the Canadian Counseling Society. Philip is here and he will be leading the workshop. So just before we get started, I would like to get started on some land acknowledgement. As treaties people on Turtle Island, we are obligated to uphold treaties made from a long time ago. Where I am situated, I would like to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. I also want to thank the First Peoples for the ongoing teaching of how we are to learn on the land and from the land in partnership with each other, the animals, and the plants. So now I'm just going to go into a brief introduction of who we are. So we are the Canadian Multicultural Lead Organization for Mentoring and Training, and we are a registered charity here in Ontario, and our aim is to help youths and adults turn challenges into opportunities through empowering them to build skills based on the four principles of leadership, empowerment, achievement, and determination. So since 2007, we've been hosting a LEAD program. And in this program, we've mentored over 300 students across the Greater Toronto area. And our overall mission is to give individuals from youth to seniors the support to develop strategies and tools to create their own success stories. So right now, I'm going to be introducing our speaker for tonight, Philip Wilkins. So I'm just going to introduce him briefly. He's a certified educator and counselor. He's also has a life career in the financial services industry. He is a father of 4 boys. He is responsible for Ontario and Eastern Canada as the part of the Canadian Counseling Society, and his passion is to ensure that all Canadians have the correct information to make their personal financial decisions. Let's welcome Phil to lead the session.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. You you were probably looking at me. I'll make sure we have this quick understanding. As I was telling the ladies, this is not an episode of Hoarders. I'm downstairs in my workstation here. That's just my furnace behind me. I won't make you stare at this while we're presenting. I've got a better background. Just want you see, I'm here. I'm real. It's really me. Okay, so a couple quick things now. I'm just going to cover that up, and so we get something nice for you to stare at. Yeah, we're happy to be here. This is a unique opportunity. I'll tell us a little bit about us in here as we go along. Couple pieces I'd like to put out there for us is, number one, we do appreciate, of course, throughout the presentation, you keep your mute on. I think that's probably controlled for you. Sometimes it slips and we can hear things in the background. We can all smile. Life happens, but if you would, we'd all appreciate that. Any questions you have? The ladies and I were talking. Yeah, please feel free, put them in the chat and they'll be monitored. Or if you want to, if you prefer, hold on to them to the end of the presentation. I've made sure that there's a little extra time available if you have any other questions, okay? Thanks for the wonderful introduction. Credit Counseling Society, I'm just going to get this ready to go here. And what I just need is your indulgence for a second, because while I love the technology, I got to make sure that we get the right things done here. I got to get this up and running full bore, because we got to make sure it's there. And the other thing I have to do is make sure I can get it to share properly, because what I tend to do is I lose this piece and I don't know where it is. You can't see my screen yet, can you?
Not yet.
Okay, just give me a second, everybody, because this is a little bit trickier with my group here, because I've got to find, there's the Zoom meeting right there. And I got to pick which one I want to share. Okay, so I'll put this over here. And share, just give me a second here, because I got to make sure it works out for us. It's up and running. Okay, share. How's that? Got good. Okay.
Good.
Thumbs up. All right. There we go, everybody. Okay. This is fantastic. This is what I want to make sure that we had going on. Welcome to our presentation. Credit Counseling Society is a unique group. We're a not-for-profit charitable organization. We do our very best. Well, our motto, our battle cry is we help, we educate, we give hope. What we do is we like to get out and provide the information to people that they need to make sure that they're doing the best they can with personal financial decisions. Sometimes things happen in life. That's one of the things, right? Sometimes life happens and we need to make sure we get in the right direction. If we need to ask, we need to go to the sources that can give us that impartial information. Hence, we're not for profit. That's the way to go. Um, Tonight, and my position, just to make sure it's clear, I'm both a certified educator and a certified counselor. When I speak to you, there are lots of things that come from my counseling part, which I do believe and has in the past helped reiterate or help strengthen when we have a discussion around anything to do with our personal finances. When we get this particular piece we're having this evening, it's got quite a bit into it. So I'm going to do my very best to keep it as informative but as light as possible. So you sit back and relax and you sip on your water or your wine, whatever you got, and relax and enjoy yourself. And we'll walk through this together. Also, a lot of the data we get isn't just research from reputable sources. We have a tremendous amount of data that we've been doing this since 1996. So you can imagine there's a lot of background there, and we can really affirm the things we talk about just by the sheer numbers that we have on our books. Anyways, so that's what we do. And the other thing that we do is, and the sidebar, what I'm supposed to tell you also is that in our lives, and if we ever run into a situation where we are struggling a little bit, we do things as simple as helping people just get a budget back on track, or look at their credit profiles to make sure they're reading it properly, right through to helping them redo their debt structure. That's what we do, and all the counseling we do is for free. So that's the background piece. So the education was spawned from that. There we go. Tonight, the discussion is around the psychology of, it's our Mind Your Money series. This is psychology of saving. And I can tell you before we even get started that the counselor in me will tell you that when we do counsel people, and if they are into any kind of struggle, the thing that we notice is that there's no savings present. Sometimes they've just used it. But unfortunately, what it tends to be, and I really mean this unfortunately, is that there wasn't enough there in the first place. Now, we know life is expensive. We get it. I'm actually sitting in Barrie, Ontario right now. That's where my office is. We have offices in Hamilton, Burlington, in Toronto. Of course, we're all working from home right now. And it doesn't matter where we live around here, it's expensive. We know that. So anything we can do to start and to maintain a good savings regime is huge. It's just a huge piece. Okay. Now, in the event that if something happens and we get disconnected, don't worry, I'll sign back in and we'll continue. But I've had no problem so far. All right, if you're okay, no questions just yet. There you go. That's who we are, and again, our battle cry. I already told you about that. FYI, before we get started, if you've ever had a presentation from us before, you have seen this particular screen. This just highlights that on my little note about life happens, there's some things that we just can't control. We have our locus of control is this is outside. This is outside locus control. We can't. Things from unemployment and underemployment right through down to housing costs. You see the list there. No brainer, right? Absolutely. I think that we can probably all agree that, yeah, these are some major issues that can have a major impact on who we are financially. I remember I said who we are financially. This doesn't make or break us. It's just who we are financially. And let's face it, everybody, COVID has been a very significant and different challenge. And we've seen big upswings in the underemployment and unemployment, and the housing costs have got ridiculous. All right. So let's break down, where do we need to go? All right. What we're going to discuss, and we'll do this as precisely as we can, we're going to talk about and stress the importance of saving, what financial well-being really is. And there are some definitions out there that you might find interesting. So what are some of the common roadblocks? You may say, yes, I get it. I've been there. That I may just reiterate what you already know. I may bring some new things to the table for you. And whatever it is, I hope it works. Okay. I'm glad we do. And we're going to talk about some saving strategies, maybe some unique and neat little tips that can maybe help you or your household save. And may I even suggest, how about have a little fun with it? Why not, right? So by the end of our session this evening, I want us to understand how we can increase our financial FWB, we call it financial well-being, how we can create the financial goal. And I'm hoping you can be able to describe at least 5 different saving strategies. You know what? If you walk away with 2, man, oh man, that's a high five across the board, okay? Because you're going to listen to these and your personality is going to say, no, you know what? I like A and B. I know that. There's a couple that scream to me as well. Okay, why is it so important to save? See, this discussion, what's important about this concept is that we have to be able to mentally break down why is it we're having the discussion? What does it mean to us? Without this, without us understanding inside our financial hearts, if you will, why do we want to talk about it? Why do we think it's important? It'll mean nothing to us. We have to have some kind of a parameter around it, and we have to be able to pinpoint what are the things that make it important to us. Why would we want to save? Let's talk about some things that it might mean to us. Is it perhaps a source of less stress, right? When you have some money and something happens, even just a little bit, it takes some of that wear and tear off of us. We know, okay, something happens, at least I've got a couple $100 I can lean on if I need to help out a family member or a friend, or I'm just slow hours and I need to pay a bill. I'm okay. I can pay it now. I'm getting paid. I'm going to be okay. We also want to make sure, see, our savings are something built in so we don't have to borrow for day-to-day expenses. And, sidebar, test tomorrow. Here's one of the big ones. When we do counseling, where we start to see people running into issues, and it can take a little while. It may not happen right away, is if you start to borrow for your day-to-day savings and you can't pay it back, of course, the debt will just accumulate. It will grow, right? Case in point, right? Going grocery shopping, had a bit of a tough month, and you know that your bill is always $200 every week you go grocery shopping, and you go out, you take your credit card, you say, okay, but you spend 250. Say, oh, it's okay, I'll put my 200 on it, I'll pay that 50 tomorrow or in a couple days. There's the problem is that if you don't pay it now, remember, life happens. And what we don't want to do is get caught with life happening and be 50 bucks short, this week and the next week. You see where I'm going. It can become a pattern, and we don't want that to happen. Of course, savings is security for the future. We know that certainly we want something later on, from anything from making a purchase to retiring, that we need the money to be able to do that. And we also need more confidence with our money. It means, are we doing the right things? I have to be confident that I'm handling it properly. I'm putting it where it's supposed to go. Okay. And ladies, if you see anything in the chat box, you just go ahead and pipe in. Okay, I'm okay with that. All right. Financial well-being, or the FWB. I don't want to get us all caught up in things that, these acronyms that don't make sense. So if I say the word or the letters FWB, that's what I mean. What is it? There's a definition about this. It generally speaking, what is expected, what's accepted is that it's the extent to which someone is able to meet all their current commitments and needs comfortably and has the financial resilience to maintain this in the future. That's financial well-being. So start again, a little bit of a information leak here for you is, what does it mean? Well, there's our current self and our future self. So our current self sees our future self still in a comfortable position. We'll talk about that as well. So that's what is accepted as a definition of financial well-being. All right. Oh, and by the way, in terms of that, let me go back. The scope of that definition is accepted through Canada, the United States, Ireland, New Zealand, Norway, and Australia. There's a lot of players in this particular financial literacy forum in this arena, and it's great to share this information with them, like right across the board. It's international. All right, how about a little FYI? All right, let's talk about this. Did you know Canadians who actively save higher levels of their financial well-being, they're with those with the same income who don't? Okay, so who actively save have higher levels, sorry, of financial well-being than those that the same income that don't. All that means is, sorry, I kind of bit my tongue when I did that. It just means if you're presently, and if you're actively putting some money aside, you are obviously just less stressed. Okay. Part B of this, understand psychological factors greatly influence whether or not a person regularly saves money, right? It does. Back to this, how we feel about money, right? Here's the quick note. It says the way Canadians think and feel about money affects whether or not they save. Okay, helping someone develop a new mindset towards spending, saving, and borrowing, or changing their perspective on how much control they have over their life may be challenging. However, unlike the social demographic factors, like your age, your gender, etc., psychological factors like these can potentially be modified. Okay? So there's an opportunity here. We can modify them. They're there, but we can consciously make changes or amend them to get to where we need to go, or to suit what we have to do. Okay. Canadians who find ways to avoid borrowing for daily expenses have higher levels of financial well-being. We just stated that. I don't think I need to dig down that one, right? Because you're not concerned about running into a problem, not being able to pay your electricity or buy groceries. So if you don't have that concern, you're less stressed. Okay. Now here's something. We're talking about this FWB. Did you know that the financial well-being does not change significantly in your household, whether you're making $50,000 a year or 150? Okay? So what might that mean? You say, probably, Phil, like you're kind of full of it now. You're trying to throw me some fish hooks here. No, what that's really saying is that within a gap, and the 50 to 150 covers a great deal of John and Jane Canadian here. For those of us that are I'm going to call us regular Canadians. Okay, we're the best. I know that, but for us, it means that no matter, even if we start making more money, it's not significant enough to make it easier on us. Even if we make more money, because it's not the amount that's coming in the door. It's the amount that we're able to use properly or retain. Because the big lesson if you have kids too, what's your gross versus your net income? Conceptually, it's something that they have a hard time getting their mind around. They've got to see it a few times to get that piece. Well, how do you explain it? What goes in your account and what have you got in your pocket? That's the net. And really, while there's a difference, certainly once you net it down, that what goes in your pocket is a lot less vast than what it looks like for the gross on paper. So in other words, you can be making $100,000 a year. Yeah, you're certainly getting more in your pocket than when you're making 50, but you're in a higher tax bracket. It's not quite as much as a lot of people seem to think. And really, unless you're doing the right things, you're not getting ahead of the game at all if you're not doing the right things to allow yourself to increase your financial well-being. Okay. A little wordy, I know, a little wordy, but you bear with us there. Okay. All right. Let's just do a check. And I want everybody just to do this on your own. You don't have to put this in the chat because there's a reason for it, okay? This is yours. Let's just take a little bit of inventory here. We're going to check your FWB levels. And like doing a budget for yourself, please do this and be absolutely brutally honest with yourself, all right? Answer these questions, okay? From 1, never, to 5, always, right? Here we go. Here's the 5, what I want you to answer. I pay my bills on time. Rate that. And put your answers in a column from top to bottom, okay? I put my money away for my goals, example, for your retirement, for emergencies, vacations, that type of thing. My income allows for unplanned purchases without borrowing. Unplanned. Like one of your best friends says, oh, by the way, did I tell you we're going to get married next month? Yeah. Oh, thanks very much. I'm just reaching for things, but that's something like that. Okay. Have you got something aside for those types of situations? I can pay for my monthly expenses without borrowing. Can you go grocery shopping and not have to put it on your credit card, for example? I don't have to pay my electricity bill on my credit card, wait for my next pay so I can pay it off. Am I going too slow, ladies, or is that okay? I can see, is that okay? Yeah, good, okay. Number 5, I have money left over at the end of the month after paying for food and housing expenses. I'm going to sip my water now, okay? Pause. I review my budget in order to make room for things that matter to me. This is a big piece for us when we do budgeting for people. We ask them, great to have a budget. Do you revisit it? How often do you do that? You don't have to do it daily, but I educate myself on different financial products. You understand, like the checking versus a savings versus a credit card versus a line of credit. Do you look into those types of things? Maybe not all of those, but do you tend to look at it? I believe I can stop myself from spending impulsively. No problem, right? Dollar store, the chocolate bar is $1.25. Okay, can you walk past it, or do we got to grab three? Okay. A lady once told me, Phil, there's no such thing as a dollar store. It's a $20 store. I looked at her and said, you know what I mean, Phil. I go in to spend $10, $5. I come out to spend 20. I get it. Okay. Number 9, I believe I'm in control of my financial situation. A little bit of fluff on that one. It's a bit fuzzy, that one. And number 10, I believe that saving for the future is more important than spending on my current wants. Okay. This is just personal to you. You don't have to share this with anybody. Okay, well, if you're done, please take a second there and just add it up for yourself. Add up what your total is. I gain back to a sip of water, and I'll let you do that. Okay. Okay. That enough time, you think, for everybody to do the math? Yeah. Okay. Well, here we go. Check this out. Oh, I got to give this a little bit of a push. All right. I think it speaks for itself. If you're on the low end of the scale, you're struggling. And we can understand that may be the fact of the matter for even a lot of us. Right through to if you score from 41 to 50, you are right now in a financially secure position. Right? This is a very important snapshot. This can help drive you to the next level because it's right now, it's a starting piece. It's like when you start your budget, how do you know what to do until you decide what am I spending my money on? You got to track your expenses. You got to know what your income is first before you can even start that process. Same here. How well are you doing right now? And remember, like I said, it's not about how much you're making, it's how are you using it? This opens our eyes a little bit, doesn't it? It opens our eyes to how we feel about our position right now, right? Now, what's important here is that we maintain and work towards the greater FWB, the greater financial well-being for ourselves, because this contributes right to less stress, and we get greater physical and mental health out of it. I've seen people walk with a hump in their back because they're so stressed out, and we counsel them, and it's financial stress they're carrying. I mean, other things could be factoring in, but they just can't shake it. We want them back in control. Okay. And how about this fact for you? Only 1/3 of Canadians are considered financially secure. This, if you've heard about these massive undertakings about financial literacy, we are also cautious to make sure that you saw my bio. It's about doing the right things the right way all the time, not sometimes. We want to make sure you have the right information. Let's move forward with a proper and a very positive FWB, financial well-being. All right. Now, how can you increase your FWB? Well, first of all, we talk about things like actively saving. I think you see the screen that it shows you, but what does that mean? See, here's the snippet from it, okay? It shows that people who can think long-term rather than living in the moment have an easier time with saving. Okay, regardless of your income level, your demographics, actively putting money away has the highest impact on your financial well-being. I counsel everybody. Even if you're sometimes they say, Phil, I don't make a lot of money. I understand that. And sometimes you've just got to get through to the next level before you can get there. But you know what? If you can just even scrape, we got a nickel, a dime, a loonie, a toonie. The fact is, you want the habit now. You want the habit long term. So whatever it is, just start doing it and don't even think about it. We'll talk about ways to help that process, but that's what we're trying to establish, okay? Now, also remember, having positive beliefs and attitudes towards my own money is huge, okay? Because research shows that people who have positive attitudes towards their savings and negative towards borrowing actually have a better relationship with money. Now, negative means that you prefer not to. That's what that means. So we're trying to build this. I'm going to keep working towards preferring to put money away rather than borrowing it. That's we still have to borrow money. We know that in life. I don't know too many people, and please feel free to raise your hand if you know, that can just pull some money in their pocket to go buy a new car, or buy a house. There are reasons why we do need to borrow money. Just that how we borrow, where we borrow it is the part of the key piece. The day-to-day expenses, we want to get in a position where we're paying for those out of our pocket without touching loans like our credit cards. Okay. Now, another little subnote to this is it's called the ability to meet my current commitments. See, being confident with your money can also help you save. Confidence comes from knowing you have enough, right? You can meet your daily commitments, and with that confidence, with that well of confidence, actually, you can plan for the future and you can make better decisions about the financial products that you need. Because I mean, there's basics, right? Your checking account is I catch my money, it goes in there because that's my day-to-day account. That's the account that I use for my personal business, if you will. After that, savings accounts or TFSAs are places to put money aside where you're not using it right now. You want it to do a little bit of work for you, right? A little interest on there, do something for me, park it where you don't need to touch it. That's what the whole point is there. Here's the ex-banker talking to you. I like to make it really simple in terms of breaking down of what we want to do. More detail than that is somebody sitting down and talking to their own financial planner, developing the plan because it's about you, your situation, your cash flow. Okay? That's what it's about. Okay, how's that one? So far, so good. Okay, let's keep moving. Again, ladies, anything comes up, let me know. Now, roadblocks, this is the piece of the presentation. The next couple are a little bit heavier, so let's just talk about it in just as clear a form as we can, right? Are roadblocks to saving money. I mean, the conversation is great. We get it. I'm sure everybody's about, yes, I want my financial well-being to increase, get better, or it's good. I want to keep it. But there are some issues we have to be able to understand is that our subconscious brain, it really, they say it makes it hard to save. There's an interesting piece here. And this actually comes, there's a guy by the name of Ted Klontz. He's a financial psychologist, and he traces back our attitudes. And he goes back to when we were living in tribes. This is how far this goes back. It's in our, if you will, it's in our human DNA, okay? He says, according to him, since tribes operated communally, that's how they operated. If you were keeping something that you didn't need, it made you look selfish. Okay. And you could eventually get kicked out of the tribe. Okay? What that means is that you don't get a chance to pass on your DNA, right? You're out, you're done, you're on your own, your bloodline ends with you and it's over. Also, saving back then was we didn't have the processes like the refrigeration, et cetera, back then, and stuff can rot and go bad. So again, if you do save too much for too long, you die and you don't get a chance to reproduce and, if you will, pass on your DNA. Here's what else he said. This is kind of interesting. He says, even 100 years ago, when humans were more communal and they had several generations of people pooling the resources under the same roof. This is up to 100 years ago. Now, mind you, back then, people didn't often live much more into their 40s, right? We know that conditions were not quite what they are right now. So the mindset then was there was no point in trying to save past 40. See, that was their end. It was done. So we just got to get to 40. And then after that, if you will, Bob's your uncle. Whatever happens, happens. Okay. So you can see that if you look at it, Klontz believes that the small portion of humans, right, up to 17% of us are natural savers. That is a very small amount. So it can see if you follow his teachings and this wording, it comes back down to we just haven't been wired to save because we've never really had to. This is a relatively recent phenomenon in human history. Okay. I hear somebody take their mute off. Is there a question out there that you want to ask? Are you okay? No? Okay. Now, with part of this note is understanding that in our subconscious brain, it makes 90% of our decisions without realizing it. This is what this Ted Klontz was to understand. Okay, so he says, so that part of the brain that does that thinking for us, it's like it hasn't been reprogrammed for over 100,000
Checking
years.
positive.
Oh, You got that one? Thank you. Well done. Very fast on that. So where the struggle for us is that we're developing habits or our ways. We have to get around what's basically, if I may, what's bred into us, what comes natural to all human beings, right? Where we get into the discussion of the present versus future self is, this is what we're trying to bring forward, is that we're all about the present self, right? This is the like this Daniel Goldstein is a cognitive psychologist who talked about the self now versus the one in the future, and simply said that we just make our decisions based on who we are right now. What do we need now, right? Because we can see ourselves, like what can we talk about? Donuts, okay? We can see ourselves buying the donut, lifting it up and eating it, but the future self says, oh, don't do that because it's bad for the cholesterol, so put it down. Those are the types of battles we're talking about. So the present self versus future self just means that we have to understand, or it's our job the best we can to know that what we do now affects us later on. And that anything, I mean, again, no brainer, right? Okay, I won't dig down any deeper on that, we get it. And the piece that says external locus of control, what that suggests is that a lot of people, a lot of Canadians, a lot of people in general believe that too many things in our life are beyond our control. We can't. The circumstances, just things happen. We're subject to fate, luck, biases, etc. And there's going to be a certain amount of truth to that. Of course, there is. What we want to try to do is get back to allowing our internal locus of control to be able to, if you will, pardon the pun, take control of how we operate financially. Yes, there's enough things that we can't control, of course, but if we start our behaviors, if we start into the savings process sooner than later, consistently rather than not, then we'll be able to control the things that for our internal locus that can. Okay. All right. There we are. Just make sure I got us in the right spot here. Okay, so where do you start with this process? Okay, first of all, first things first is you've got to sit down and ask yourself, what do you want to save for? All right. Now, there's a couple processes that they talked about how you want to do this. Again, Dr. Klontz suggested, if you want to get the picture, you want to start drawing the picture, here's what you do. Get a quiet spot, sit down, close your eyes, relax for a minute, and imagine yourself 5, 10, 15-ish years from now. What do you want to look like? What is your life to look like then? Are you sitting in a cabin next to a lake? Or are you living the high life in Reno? I'm just grabbing stuff, okay? Are you jet setting across the world? You pick it, what it means to you. Jot it down. Write down what it looks like to you. Have some fun with it. And don't be afraid. And by the way, writing things down is like a contract to ourselves. Right? You're more apt to make it happen when you jot it down, whether you write it by hand or if you're a typing person, you like to type it in a Word notepad, fine. But writing it down will make you, ready for this, over 50% more likely to take the steps than not writing it down. Okay? So it's a big tool. So when you do this, when you make this mental picture of where you want to be, just take a second and just write down 3 financial goals that reflect that lifestyle. So what do you need? I want a cabin by the lake. Well, I'm going to need to put some money aside for an additional down payment. I've got to pay off. I got to pay off all my car loan before I get there. I don't know, and I've got to get a decent partner. Yeah, I don't know. You pick whatever it is, and that is going to be the roadmap for you getting to where you need to go. Okay. See, we have to know why you're going to get excited about this, right? This is an important piece. Okay. Now, when you have that picture drawn, that's the part that gets you excited about your goal. You say, yeah, I get it. Here's something else you can do with it. This is going to come up later on again too. If you are looking for some reminders, you can put pictures in front of you and smells. Okay. The disturb piece that we're getting into is, how else can you get there? The disturb means you kind of do the opposite. Is, if it helps, you say, what do I not want to look like? What do I not want? Where do I not want to be? And you can just make a picture and you can jot that down. That's kind of feeds the fight or flight in us, as human beings, where you say, you know what, There's no way I'm going to be that person. And what'll happen is if you're the person that likes that kind of a challenge, you're going to, if I may, fight, work even harder to make sure that, darn it, I'm not going to go there. What do I need to do? Yes, I'm going to put some money away. Yes, I'm going to get involved with a better savings plan because my mind says I don't want to be that person who, if you're sitting in a tent in a park, for example, God forbid and God bless them all, wish we could help them all. How is that? Is that okay? We got to that point. I just want to make sure we were clarified what that this disturbed piece means. Okay. Thumbs up, ladies. Okay. I see you. I see you over there, ladies. Okay. All right. Now, what the end result is, if you find a way to motivate yourself, if you start to light that fire, if I on our behinds right now we're lit up, we're thinking, all right, I want to make this happen. You are much more likely to commit to this whole process. You're more likely to start it, but you're much more likely to commit to it. And that's what we're trying to do. The talk is good, but sometimes they say talk is cheap. You got to have the action, right? So you need to be able to commit to action. That's what and this is making that whole process much easier. Okay. It's like you're driving the car, you're merging on the highway now. Yep. Here we go. Here's a good little bit right here for your own planning. So what does that mean? We talked about sitting back, looking about where you want to be. This little screen here just shows, pick something. What do you want to do? What's your goal? Write it down. Like use this. The ladies know that I will be providing a PDF of this to them as well, so you have a copy of this. But there's no harm in making a note of this too. And why do you want to be there? See, the extra piece. My goal is, but why? This makes it real. Okay, this is the part that brings it to life for you. But make sure that when you're doing the planning, of course, you've got to kind of time frame this. You got to make it, when do I want to be there? Do I want to start traveling next year? Do I want to buy the cottage in 5 years from now? Whatever it is, this is yours. You make it personal. Make sure you give it a date and make it real. Don't say I want to buy a brand new Cadillac next week, but I've got no money. Okay, I don't know how that's going to pull off, but you get the piece there. Okay. Look into the cost and do the math, break it down as to how much you got to put aside. And quite frankly, the math is easy, right? You know the total cost of what you want to do. Give yourself, if it's 12 months and you get paid twice a month, you've got 24 deposits of X number of dollars to make sure you've got what you need to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Now, on top of that, you say, what parts of my lifestyle are in my control right now? So this is where the discussion comes from. I see the goal. Is there a place in my budget that I can do a little carving? Can I sit back on something so that I can make this money available? You'll be amazed at what you can pull off when you've got the right mindset and you're committed to this. You'll be amazed at what you're prepared to do to get to where you need to go. Like the pig says there, like the college, new house, vacation, you name what you want, you'll get there when you do this process. We also have a piece. It's called the 7 Steps to Building a Budget That Works. It's online. Again, the ladies can get you that information. You'll have access to it free. It's a great way to be able to break down your budget and find the expenses, the room you need. And again, you've heard this before. For example, and I've had many counseling sessions where I've had people sitting in front of me and they are at Starbucks twice a day. And I say, okay, it's your money if that's what you want to do, but just ask yourself, what does that cost you? It's over $700 a year out of your pocket doing that. What if you do once a day? Cut back, just cut in half. Find a starting point of something you can do that makes sense. Okay, personal to you. What else can you do to get there? Well, you give another tool to get there is, you know what? Rather than keep things under one roof, what if you just go into your bank? I'm going to suggest, I guess most of us probably bank virtually. We pretty much have to lately, don't we? Well, set up a separate account just for that purpose. Let's just use the vacation, okay? We all can use a vacation. I'll use it, and when you go and open your account and nickname it, type vacation on it, make it easy to see, right? Keep it separate so you know when you're putting money in there. See, and the thing is, if you put a title on it, again, you're less likely to draw from it because you've committed to the goal you want to get there, right? This is kind of cool, right? Utilize all of our 5 senses. This what we want you to do is to know that you can also stimulate yourself to get in a better place to commit more to your goal here by surrounding yourself with things that can help you. If there's a cabin you want to buy, get a picture of it, put it in your fridge, see it. If it's a trip to a certain place, I don't know, like I will Peru, for example. Now, what are some of the smells you get in Peru? You put a plant down there that smells like it. You have pictures, the senses. I want to go to Italy and I want to visit all their wonderful pasta restaurants. All right, have a little wafer of a little pasta in the background once in a while. Excite yourself so that it makes it much more real to you. It's almost like you can see it, you can taste it, you can almost touch it now. The five senses, and this is proven. This is what they do with children too. You see them. You're going to go and you're going to do clean up your desk after every class. And what do they do? Okay, well, we'll use little pizza sticker, like pizza slices. You get a full pizza. They find that particular visual stimulates them, and we are the same as the 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds. We need the stimulus to help us get there. It's a good tool to use. What about automating your savings, everybody? It's simple to do, right? You're online and you can ask, it's simple, just ask for a transfer. You pick the day, you like a cash influx, right? When you're getting paid or you get some benefits in. So I want $50 every injection there, whatever, every 2 weeks to go to my savings account automatically. I don't even want to save it. Beautiful, or to see it. I won't touch it, just put it there. That's excellent because you don't have to touch the darn thing. You say it's there automatically and it becomes a key piece. Okay. Sidebar here is when you're doing a budget, there's the big three that you have to account for: roof over your head, keep the lights on, food on the table, if you will. Okay. There's two other little things that we put in there that we don't want you to think about. You have to put money aside for. One is transportation, whether you're going to work, medical appointments, to school, that's transportation. You need that money aside. Okay. The other thing is if you make the savings right there, right in the beginning of the budgeting process, you don't think about it anymore. Automate it. Gone. Don't talk about it, and you can survive on what's left over. Okay. There you go. We've done that with many clients, and it is a great tool for us to be able to share with them to get them on the right track. All right. Now we're going to break out, and we're doing really well here, everybody. By the way, we're getting into it. How you doing? Does anybody need a break? Are we okay? Time for a sip of water? Okay. All right. Now the perspectives on money. This discussion comes around the control of the process. Okay. You see, it's locus control, money value is time value, and control your impulses. What we're talking about is we have to understand and deal with the locus of control. That just means is that are we in a position, or do we tend to think that things are out of control? I mentioned this earlier. Or can we control a lot more things? How does that work for us? You can hear me okay still, right? You're okay? Yeah, okay. No background
Yes.
noise that's bothering you at all?
No.
Okay, good. All right. So if we feel that there's things that we cannot control, we have to work hard visually, see us by writing down what we can do to actually control what we can control. What can we do to just concentrate on that? Yeah, simple things can happen to that, right? We look at, well, let's write out our goals. We want to make sure that whatever we do, we record it. Remember, again, there's a psychological attachment to the piece being written or typed down where we buy into it more and we're more likely to make this happen. All right? Be careful of self-talk. Negative self-talk is responsible for more Canadians walking away from their goals and their plans than about anything else I can tell you. Don't get hard on yourself. There may be times when maybe a particular month might be very difficult, maybe 2 months, and you weren't able to put any money away or less than what you expected. Don't beat yourself down with that. Yes, life happens. You know what? Give yourself a pat in the back for being able to maintain the faith. Just say, okay, I'm dealing with it. It's okay. I'll pick it up next month or the month after. If you find that you start sliding off and you're getting a little depressed, that's where you call in some help. Talk to a friend, talk to yourself, if you will. I talk to myself all the time. I drive everybody nuts in my house, but I do it all the time. But just make sure you flip it onto the positive end, okay, please. And get the support that you need. And like, if you've got to pull a friend in for that, do it. We have some other, on our website, we have a ton of resources there. which again will be shared with you, which help with calculators, with other classes, if you will, or other little webinars, shorter ones, shorter seminars that help us be able to maintain control of our budgeting process, okay? Now, while we're doing this, I'm going to back you up for a second here, because what it comes down to as well is we still have to understand like our money values, because doing all this is fine, but while we're striving for our goals, let's go back and talk to ourselves about what does money mean to you, okay? Because when you're setting up your process here, you're doing a lot of work towards your financial well-being. There's certain things that have been passed on to you from your parents, from your family, from your mentors, and though often, of course, their views, if I can, their biases, maybe ours as well. So we have to be able to recognize: am I carrying any extra baggage, maybe that I shouldn't? Are there changes that I should make? Well, break it down. Say, well, let's have a self-discussion. What does money mean to me? Here's some suggestions, and I'm going to you look. That's a pretty good array of them. Is it means safety and security? Having some money in the bank means that if something happens, I'm okay for at least a couple months. That may mean everything to us. What it may be freedom. It may mean that, yeah, you know what? That means a little bit of cash. It means if I want to fly to Peru when I'm I'm allowed to take off again, I can do it. Heck, right now, I've got a son that lives in Sudbury. And for me, freedom is being able to put a tank of gas in my car, going up there and seeing him and his wife and visiting them. I can do that. Well, we did it anyways, but I couldn't during some of the time during COVID. That's my freedom. Do you have one that's like that? Probably. Independence. I mean, you understand. I don't think you have to go into that. If you are free to do what you want when you want to do it within reason, right? A lot of us also have internal, and the charity is a big piece of what we, as a community, I'm sure, feel we should contribute to. Having a little bit of financial stability, having some financial well-being, part of that is knowing that maybe we can give a little bit to a place in our community that really truly needs it. Sometimes it's just your time. You may want to just sit in a board to help, not for profit survive and operate, but you may have a couple dollars that'll mean the world to them, and it also sure feels good to be able to help out. Right? And comfort and venture, they're pretty much self-explanatory. Our values are based on where we came from. So you can recognize these, no doubt. Take it one step further. When you're looking at financial well-being, and if you're looking at something, well, how do I forgo a purchase? I want to buy something, but you're on the edge again. I attended the seminar, I get it. Phil talked about putting money away, I get it. I buy in, I want to be financial solvent. I also want to make sure that I feel good about it. Absolutely. I don't feel some less stress, more confident. But if you want to do a little exercise and break it down as to whether something's worth it or not, we're bordering on the needs versus want discussion here, but break it down in terms of, if you're working, how many hours do you have to put in to buy what you're looking for? Now, I got to tell you, sidebar, I worked with this wonderful lady. Gosh, she was funny, from not from Canada. And she came to me, she said, Phil, I got to tell you, I got a little issue. I said, well, what is it? So, well, my spending, we did her budget. She loved shoes. And I kid you not, she was very upfront about it. And I said, okay, well, I get it. What's the problem? She said, I have too many. I feel guilty. I think my family, they deserve better. So I said, okay, well, let's work on this. We'll put some things in front of you. What are you buying? How much? So we went through that, and we went through this worth analysis. So she wrote it down, how much she was making, and she figured out that to buy a pair of shoes that she wanted, she had to work almost 2 months to get them. Almost 2 months. So when she looked at that piece of paper and the results on the the math, the poor girl, she started to have tears running down her eye. It's okay. It's okay. What did we realize here? But it was such a shock for her that she said, you know what? I need this right now. I need to know, because there's so many other things I want to do. And she wanted to take her kids. She wanted to take her kids to McDonald's. I said, well, I don't want to go there anymore, but I get it. You want to go there once in a while. She just once in a while, Phil. That was an easier sell. That's 4 days, and she could take her kids. It just changed who she was in terms of buying. Good for her. I still stay in touch with her. Wonderful person. She still has never forgot that. Right. So this is a great exercise too, to break it down for yourself. Okay. We also know that we need to control our impulses. Right. the big battle cry here is resist the urge to borrow. Okay, please. And again, it doesn't mean sometimes we can't. We may have to for bigger items, but for the day-to-days, which is really the point of this presentation, let's stay away. Get ourselves in a position to stay away from borrowing for the day-to-day. Okay, what else can you do? Well, there you go. Get the mindset. If there's something that I need, I haven't got the cash right now, take it from your savings. See, with savings, if you deplete it, there's no forced monthly payment, right? You get back on your plan, get back on your strategy, you put it in. If you miss a month, you're not going to ruin your credit. You just need to put it back in your savings account, and it does work. How about go without? Again, if it's something that you say, I can skip it once in a while, that's the next strategy you can use, okay? Earn a little bit more income. But those of you out there that maybe participate in a sport, for example, you can go from work if they offer overtime, take a bit of overtime if you want. What about refereeing the sport you came from? I call anybody, the soccer player, if the local community now that they're back up and playing sports again, maybe you can do a little refereeing. Anybody for baseball out there, do a little umpiring. It's a little bit of cash on the side that can make a difference. It's a tank of gas. It can be groceries for a week, right? And they say, cut one expense for a month. So 1 month, just go without something. I go back, okay, you're right, Phil, Starbucks. 1 month, I'll go back next month, but I'll go without this month. Okay? The next piece to look at is, I mean, it's all wonderful, but is there any little things I can do, any tips that I can do to save some money? Absolutely there is. There's a few things that you can do, okay? One, they call commitment devices. This is something as simple as you don't want to use your credit card. So the device you can implement would be like an open piece of Tupperware, putting the card in there, the credit card, and freezing, put water, put it in your freezer and let it freeze. It slows you down. To get that credit card, of course, now you've got to pull it out, you've got to thaw it out and use it again. The other term they use, a device like that allows us to do is to explore the moment of sober second thought. Is it a want? Is it a need? Can I think about it for a little bit, please? Okay. There's these little things you can do, and they're kind of cool, and they work. Okay, they really do. Rounding up. Your bank probably offers this. Most of them do. You can do it yourself. That's simply when you're buying something and it's a $10.45. They'll run up to the next dollar or the nearest $5 and put it in your savings account for you. This is, I don't even have to touch it. They'll do it for you. A great way to put away a little bit of money here, a little there. It adds up. Okay, it's called the rounded up or the round up theory, if you will. Okay, it is not hard to do. Believe me. I'm not going too fast here, Emily. Okay? Thumbs up? Okay, thank you. Because these are good things. I want to make sure we all get through everybody. The money buddy. This is a good one. This is kind of cool. It's somebody that helps keep you accountable, right? And it's kind of cool because if you feel like you're going to start swaying, then they can step in with ways to help you from stop spending. Okay. Case in point. I mean, I'm giving you real stuff here. I've been around a little bit, so I get to see this. A friend of mine, I'm taking back a few years now. He knows I've been doing this. He wanted to go buy a new TV. The playoffs were on, whatever. His wife said, Phil, like, we need a new TV, like a hole in the head. And I go, I know. But he wants to buy it when he's bent on it. I said, okay, well, here's what you do. He's going to want to go buy one. Make him take the money, withdraw the cash, and put it in his pocket. Make him go to the store and walk around and do the shopping that way. And what we're going to hope for is that he's going to develop, you ready for this? A relationship with a wad of money. Okay, plastic is not, it's not personal. It's a thing that we don't even own it. It's like, this is a foreign piece to me. Cash can be a little bit more personal. Now, please know, I'm not suggesting that if you're going to do something like this, walk around with a bunch of cash. I'm not saying that. In this case, it was safe for him to do it. The end result is he went into the store with that wad of cash. He looked around, sober second thought caught up with him. He ended up going home with a new microwave, much less. They needed it. His wife was happy. And I said, yeah, his name was Todd. Look at your TVs. I said, dude, really? You don't need that. Come on. And then we had a little laugh and it was done with. So it does help, okay? And you can also, you have a little contest with each other. Just if I do right, you have to have a reward. You buy me a beer, or we get to have lunch together. Something like that, okay? That's your money buddy. How about this one? We call it risk your values. And you can do, and again, with a person. This simply means that, you know what? You've set your strategy up. You give your friend, I got $100 at stake here. Give them the $100, whatever amount it is, but we just use $100. And you say, hang on to this, because my goal is, you pick the goal. I want to quit smoking for a month, or I want to just accumulate $200 in my savings account. You make sure you put a top to this. Okay, you're trying to accomplish something. If you accomplish it, you get the money back. You put it back in your savings if you want. If you don't do it, they take that money and they give it to a charity that you can't stand. It's the anti-motivator, right? And then we got down there like the famous, your favorite politician that you like to hate. Something, it doesn't matter, right? But the point is that we're going to stir up those feelings that you're going to fight like crazy to make sure you make that goal happen, because you know darn well you don't want to give that $100 up to somebody that you don't believe in, right? That's what you don't want to happen. That's the risk your values. I laugh every time I read this one because I think it's very strong for a guy like me. And of course, your heartstrings. Another little strategy is, why not just, if you're saving for something, put a picture up. We had one person that they had their money put in an envelope. It was for a vacation. They want to take their kids to Disneyland. So I'm taking it back a couple of years now. What they did was they put the money in the envelope and they kept the picture of their children on the envelope. Now, they got the ooh and the ah moment, but it certainly super motivated them to make sure that they did everything they could to put the money in that envelope and don't take it out again. They wouldn't touch it again. Okay. So there you go. Now, saving the extras. Other little strategies you can do is when you shop, save your savings. If you're shopping and get a discount, take the difference, put it in your savings account. Okay. So in other words, if you've already accepted that you're going to buy something for $10, you get on sale for $6, put the 4 away. Okay? You get a raise. If you're living well on with your income right now within your means, and you get a little raise, an extra 50, $100 a month, put it aside for a while. If you don't need it right now, save that. Okay? If you've decided you're not going to spend something, if for example, you say, you know what, McDonald's out, nope, I'm $50 a month on that, not going to do it this month. Okay, do that. Take the 50, put it in your savings account. These are ways to help boost your savings. Okay, it helps you get to where you need to go, perhaps a little more quickly. I got a couple other tidbits for you that you may like as well. Okay. Now, this is the part where we take just a little step back. And ladies, I think you've seen this before when Amanda's presented. There's our QR code in the Survey Monkey. We like to just, before we get to the end of the presentation, let people know that we are definitely interested in your opinions. The ladies here will let me know later on how it went. But it's also, we want to make sure that we're giving you the content that you want. Tell us how we did. We're open to suggestions. I hope we're doing the right things. We are not for profit. We provide this with this wonderful group, and we want to keep providing it. So part of our funding depends on making sure that we're doing the right things. If you like it, thumbs up. We love it. Okay. Don't be afraid to tell us other topics you may want to talk about. We're happy for that. Okay. So far, so good, ladies. We're all right. All right. Sip time. Now, we've used these actual processes with our clients as well. Other things you can do is just take a 2-liter pop bottle. Do you know if you put dimes in it? See, it shows you right there, $700 you can put in there just by collecting the dimes, right? Collect your change. We got one of those, those mixed nut jars you can get. They got peanuts and stuff in it, and it's not that big. It'll fit in your hand if you open your hand up really wide, and it's about 4 inches deep or so, and it's got, of course, got the plastic top on it. We use one of those. Put loose change in there. I 2 boys still at home. I say, guys, we're going to put our loonies and toonies in there. If we can get that full, we can get it full enough to buy the gas to go up and see my other son, or because we want to do a little trip up there, or get a room for one night where we can go up, not bug them, and stay up there. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. 52-week money challenge. These things are kind of fun. Okay, let me show you. Well, I'll get over here. There it is. You're not asked to put big cash out. What you're asked to do is, there's 52 weeks in a month. They're all, number them 1 to 52. The week that you're at, deposit that appropriate amount of money. So week 1, you put $1 in. Week 2, $2 in. You can do it backwards too, because if you say, I've had a good month, do it backwards. Do 52 the first week, 51. Do it on a lottery, like a bingo. Mix it up. Pull out, oh, that's 25 bucks. You do it, whatever works for you, but do it for 52 weeks. And if you stick with it, you get over $1,300 just by playing a little game with yourself. And conceivably and theoretically, money you wouldn't miss in the first place. There it is. There's a quick way to make $1,300. There's also the 52-week, this is the 365 nickel challenge. Oh yeah, sorry. This one is when you put the nickels away for 365 days. This is not that clear. I know that. You with a total of over $3,300. Okay. We don't use that one very much. This one is the one that has got a lot of traction. You base it on the week. You just the 1, 2, 3. You see, for every day of the week, you put that money away in your savings account. But come Monday, you start all over again, back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you never put more than $7 away at any one given time. But look at roughly, if you repeat that, you're going to have over $1,400 in your savings account. Just kind of unique and neat little cheeky ways to put money aside and say, I did it. I cut some money aside. I've got that buffer now. And I mean, and when we see people come to see us, like it's often their savings aren't there, right? We put them on a plan to build their savings back up, because even when they're doing it, I've had people get to $300-400 and then life happens. They need 500 or 600 quick bucks. They say, yeah, you know what? I didn't have it all, Phil, but I had a good chunk of it, which means I borrowed a lot less. Of course, the idea is to get enough in there that if you need to go, like say, you got to go back home, right? And if you're not from Canada, and you need $1,200 for that would probably be cheap, mind you, to get there and back again. Well, under this plan, you'll have it in a year. Once you take it from savings, you just got to build it back up again. You don't have to repay a loan. So that's why I love this plan. And of course, there's holiday savings. It's another little plan you can do that it just says it's a 35-day deal. So day one, you transfer 35 bucks into your savings and you go down from there. So you never have to go over $35. If you've got enough to sustain this in a short term, in a month, you've got 600 bucks, over 600 bucks aside to take care of what you want to do. So you see, there's lots of little things that we can do to get us to put some money away, and it doesn't have to be boring. You can have some little fun with it. So what does this mean? Financial well-being is a big step. There's a psychology behind it. We have to be mindful and be able to address, to plan to some of the pitfalls or the stumbling blocks or the psychological blocks that we have, as we talked about. So to get through that, make an action plan. Write it down, right? Make sure that what you're talking about, what you want to do, is something that you're passionate about. It makes all the difference in the world. You give yourself that total buy-in, okay? Start now. Remember, it all adds up. And I beg people, dollars, loonies, toonies, start it now. Get the habit. You'll never go wrong. Okay. And it even says right there, be kind to yourself, because if you falter or you don't quite get there, don't be hard on yourself. Sometimes stuff happens, but you can rebuild it again. Okay. Lots of tools out there. Please don't be afraid to reach out. That's what we're here for. We have these things aside for. We have mymoneycoach.ca. The ladies know that whatever they've got for themselves is free, and they can pass it on to yourselves as well. Because you're their client, you get the stuff for free as well. Okay, everybody breathe for a second, okay? Take a breath. Wow, a lot of stuff in 59 minutes and 30 seconds. So let's just back up for a second. Observations, questions. Ladies, anything that we need to talk about and revisit? I'll pause now.
Thank you, Philip. Sorry.
Okay.
That was very, very good. Thank you so much for going over the details and the psychology behind saving. It was very helpful.
You're welcome. I hope that it got there, because this is it can get really complex. And but if it gets too complex, you go, oh, I'll never get there. But remember, everybody, it's meant to be, you see the math behind the scenes, but let's break it down simply. How can we get there, right?
Yeah.
So we're all over the place. If something comes up later on and you need to reach out to me, please do so. Okay, the ladies have my information. I really recommend that you go through the L.E.A.D, L.E.A.D, and if they need me, they'll call me in. Okay. I don't know what else I can offer for you ladies right now. I think we brought ourselves to the point where we're at the end of the presentation.
Thank you. There's actually a question on the chat. I sent
Okay.
it. I was wondering, how many savings account would you recommend getting started with?
The simplest one, the better. Just a daily interest savings, something that is low on fees. Remember, savings accounts are designed to not have a lot of action. Like they'll earn for you. And by action, I mean, you can put money in, they just don't let you take it out all the time. Too many withdrawals will start to cost you. So first of all, accept that it's an account that you're going to put money in mostly. Well, you can still take some out without any penalties, but too many, they will penalize you later on. So just a normal savings account is fine. If you find that you are looking at a kind of a retirement piece, you say, okay, I'm thinking about that part as well. The one thing they've done in Canada that I've appreciated, and here's your banker speaking, and I don't always speak. I mean, banks they support us too, but I don't always say they're on my side with them all the time. That tax-free savings account is a very good product to be able to put money in. It learns a little bit for you. It won't earn quite as much interest normally as just a savings account, but it also has the benefit of you can put it in, you can take it out with no penalties, and you don't get taxed on the interest. Okay, so either one of those is a really good option for us. Okay, for savings. How was that? Is that okay?
Yes, thank you so much. That was very helpful.
Good. Okay.
Someone else is raising their hands. Palumi.
Okay.
Hello,
Hi
Phil.
there.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
You're
I
welcome.
just wanted to ask a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best way to approach, investing in stocks? So for me right now, that's something I'm really interested in, but I have no idea how to approach that.
Okay, so you're a beginner at it, if you will. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. The best thing to do, okay, right from the short version is there somebody that you trust that you can talk to in bank or outside the bank? Because the people that are certified financial planners are the ones, their job is to talk to you, get to know you, and they'll ask you about your situation. Because remember, you are different than me and different than Valerie, and they'll look at where you're at and determine what's safest for you, but what you want. So the best thing to do is talk to somebody like that to make sure that you're going to get into something that you're not going to panic with. Okay? Now, what I also can tell you is it's not just the inside bankers. You've heard there are other sources out there, people that work for places like Investors Group or Freedom 55. They're normally all very well trained individuals that they have to consult for nothing, but they do tend to have a higher level of expertise, not always, but tend to, on these matters. And they'll be able to take your situation and match you up with what's appropriate. Because when you look at it, there's so many different things to choose from. Do you want to own a company? Do you want to just lend them money? I'm making it really short work here, okay? But that's where you start, please, okay? That's the best way to get into it.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope that helps out.
It did.
Good. Is that it, ladies?
It seems like it. If anyone else has a question, you can either put it on the chat or raise your hands.
See what I mean about this psychedelic stuff going on, the virtual background? It's not, I don't want to show you everything in the back there. So, but I'm here still. I'm still kicking around. Yeah, if there's anything else, you just let us know, okay? Because quite frankly, it's quite the subject. The psychology of saving money is very important, but once you get the habit, wow, it changes your life. It really does. Okay. Anything else you need?
No, that's it. Thank you so much. We'll pass it on to Valerie to close off with us.
Okay.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you so much, Phil. That was super informative. I especially loved what you talked about, visualization, constantly seeing your goal, even smelling your goal, using your senses to excite you and ignite that emotional reaction to motivate you.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
That was really great. And writing it down as well. So I think that's probably one of the first steps I'm going to take.
Good. I'm glad it sunk in. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I'm gonna start sharing my screen.
Okay, want to stop sharing mine now?
Oh, I think I'm capable of.
I think you are. Here, I'll give you a quick boost there. Here, how's that?
Okay, great.
There it is.
Olamide?
Yes. I know Phil shared a feedback form prior, but we would also like to take some feedback based on how the event went. That's the QR code on there. I can actually also paste the link on the chat as well.
Awesome. So I'll leave this screen up for a while in case anyone wants to take the QR code with their phone. Okay.
That one looks so cool. I like that one. I like the dinosaur in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you can follow us on social media. So follow us on Instagram at canlead.org or Twitter at _the_lead.org. And this amazing presentation by Phil will actually be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So you can find us at the Canadian Multicultural Lead Organization.
I see you all at the next financial event or the mental health chat if you're able to make it. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Night.